and welcome to the Happy Hour podcast pregame episode. I'm Ray. Unfortunately, we had a little bit of technical difficulties just a second ago. Well, more so it was that I was an idiot. I was trying to pull up the actual live stream so I could see you guys right here on Facebook Live and be able to communicate. And instead of muting the actual video itself, I ended up muting the whole entire computer. So, that's what happened. But anyways, without further ado, this is the day after Christmas, and I am being joined by our good friend, Ashley Pontius, local comedian, host of the Quality Time podcast, and host of the Laugh Finder podcast. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you, Daddy?
Good. And of course, we were just talking a little bit before we went on air of Christmas gifts. You said you got an Aliens cookbook, and I got this. My mom got me this gigantic, anal butt plug of a glass right here. Like, someone can just, sit down on this. This has 2 cans of beer in it. You can probably fit
That's wild.
Yeah, maybe 3.5 in it. So you can see what we have this week is very dark. So when we get into the episode and we get into our beer of the month, everybody will find out what I actually have in this. It looks like it's Guinness, but it's definitely not Guinness. So Ashley, how was Christmas? Did anything stand out, jump out for you at all for Christmas? Or
it was great. I'm currently in DC, so I drove back home to Pennsylvania to be with my family. My sister has 3 kids, and I just thanked Santa and God that I got my period, because I don't want one of those. Absolutely terrible. They are loud and sticky. Because I love that the adults are like, what's a great idea to give 3 noisy children on Christmas? Sticky candy. And I'm like, yeah, this is solid. And have you ever heard of I think they're called like honey sticks? There's like honey. Okay, I'm not really into them. I never had them as a kid, but I guess like her weird bear children love them. So they stuck them in their stockings. And while we weren't looking, they started chomping into them, and they were throwing them all over the carpet. And then we had a honey trail all through the living room, and everybody thought it was sap.
It looked like a bear just came in and just wrecked house and left honey laying all over the place. Yeah,
I was like, is this Yosemite National Park? Because we're about to find a dead white girl, because I hate this.
It's funny. Last weekend, I dressed up for and spoiler alert, if you have any kids watching this, which you should not have them watching listening to the Happy Hour podcast. I dressed up like Santa for one of my good friends. So I went to his house to see his kids and some of the other kids there. And, it was one of those kinds of things that he brought me to suit. So one thing that I always had an issue when I did pro wrestling is that, I have a very awkward shape in my body. Like I have really big shoulders, and my calves are 19 inches around. Like my calves always been like one of the more muscular parts of my body. So when I would buy kick pads, I would have to measure my calves a certain way to make sure the kick pads would go over my calves. So he gave me the suit, and he gave me those little boot cover things. And I look, I'm like, oh, this isn't going to end well. So I go to pull the thing, and the whole back just blows out. I'm like, Jesus Christ. So I can't get the boot covers over my boots. So I'm sitting there wearing, fucking Converse with these boot covers. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I'm going to go there, and they're going to be like, this fucking crack Santa right here. Coming in. And, I told him, I was like, dude, shit's not going right. Do you still want me to do it? He's like, no. He's like, they're kids. They're not going to notice any different or whatever. And I'm like, all right, whatever. But I told him, I was like, the first kid that calls me out for not being Santa, I'm going to punch him in the face in the front yard. And, that's the whole thing. Like, how dare you call me out for not being the real Santa? But no, I went over there, and the kids were excited. It literally lasted 10 or 15 minutes, and then they lost interest, and that was it. They lost interest. I went over there. His daughter exorcist vomited on the kitchen floor, and after that, everything was just done. And we were just kind of like, okay. I was like, my job's done. I'm just going to walk my Santa ass out here, get back in the car, and off I go into the sunset.
Yeah. Silence is the joy of Christmas. Silent Night was written by people who don't have children. It's a great song. But look, Ray, let me tell you, I believe this is not the first time you've blown somebody's back out. You know what I mean? Rawr, get it, daddy.
It most certainly is not. So, and then, moving forward to Christmas itself, like, yeah, and he's done it 2 years in a row. I love Jess's cousin, but what he does is he buys gifts and he gets so busy he doesn't wrap anything. So like last year he got gifts and he gave us the gifts and they were still in like the plastic bags out of it. And he did it again this year. And I was like, dude, I got my mom and sister's gifts. I got paid on the 24th, so 23rd, because the 24th was, our day off. And I was
Right.
on the 23rd and I rushed and got like a bunch of stuff that I needed to get. I wrapped it before we drove to Annapolis on Christmas Eve and had it taken care of. I was like, dude, like, so could you imagine that? Like, imagine someone goes out and buys like they buy you like a double-sided dildo or something like that, and it's just sitting in a bag, and they're just like, oh, here you go, and like presents it to you in front of your parents, and it's just kind of flopping that way. You're just kind of like, you couldn't have put this in like a series of like just cut the bottoms out of like wine, containers and pull them all together. And
Well, a gift is still a gift, though. I would still rather, as lame as it is, I would still rather get that than, Dad, if you're watching, I love the gifts, love you, but I am a Satanist and I don't think my parents love that. So I was gifted several books on my relationship with Jesus Christ. So
nice.
that was a weird thing. Like, my sister got me a lipstick that says Merry Dickmas and it's shaped
Nice.
like a dick. And I'm like, this is fantastic. And then the next thing I open is like a book about like how to return to the Lord. I was like, this is great. Thank you. I can't wait to read this.
You have lost your way with Jesus. This is how to refine your path and refine your way to go to Jesus.
I don't know how to tell anybody that like I purposefully covered my tracks so I wouldn't return. I don't know how to help people understand that I went hiking by myself and turned off my cell phone in the religious sense. I don't know how else to explain that to somebody. I'm like, I don't want to be found. I don't.
Yeah. I don't need anybody to find me. Let's just cut this right here. We're just going to cut this off right here, right now. And what I'm going to do is, before I forget, because last week I forgot to do it, our pre-show exclusive, which is our Urban Dictionary term of the day. So our Urban Dictionary term of the day is a Mexico orgasm. And it's either an orgasm over Mexican food or an orgasm over a Mexican. And the descriptions are, I like to Mexico orgasm over your mother. Why, Jeffrey? That was a delectable steak. I would so much enjoy some part of my afternoon cigar. How is your Frank? Is he still a homosexual? Mexico orgasm. That's so that's the Urban Dictionary term of the day. So, and of course, we're right here back on Facebook Live, which surprisingly enough, we had to do YouTube Live because we were in Facebook prison for a good while, which was stupid. It was like a self-inflicted like prison type thing, because we posted a GIF image of James Franco doing First Time when he had a rope around his neck, which used to be a part of Facebook's GIF inventory.
Yeah.
So we used that. So Facebook flagged us for 60 days for using that GIF in a comment. And really all it was, hey, you're on restriction. You can't use any paid ads. I don't do any paid ads. And you can't go live. And I was like, well, now I have YouTube. So
yeah,
go live on YouTube or whatever. In retrospect, I have a like page for the show too. I probably could have went live on that instead, but I'm just kind of like, all right, whatever. Our content hasn't gotten us booted from Facebook yet anyways. So
that's so stupid.
Yeah.
I hate it here. Like, I can't, because you and I both, like, to do what we do, you have to use social media, but at the same time, the deep, desperate urge to leave social media never goes away.
Oh yeah. And that's like my personal profile, I barely post anymore. And that was mainly because I lost access to the old one. My email expired. I had not signed into that email in probably 4 years. So basically the email kind of factored itself out. So that email, which I don't know how they could issue that same email. That was something that I created. to somebody else. And then I couldn't do my Facebook anymore. So I messaged Facebook. I'm like, I have a customer service department. So it's like, how the hell do you have all this, but you don't have a customer service department? So that profile is still sitting active on Facebook somewhere. And I had to create a new variant profile because I was just kind of like, all right, well, fuck, I lost that. And after that, I just stopped posting as much. Mainly it's just the podcast one that, I post from, and I have a hard time. Sometimes I'll like something or comment on something from the podcast page, and I'm just going, oh fuck, and I have to go back, delete the comment, and then re-sign back in as Ray, and then comment with because I'm just
that's so annoying.
Yeah.
Oh God, I hate it so much. It's so funny when people are like, "Aren't you afraid that someone's gonna steal your identity?" I'm like, no. Who would want to be a chubby white girl with bad credit? Who wants that? I'm like, cool, take my debt. I don't care. Go for it. Pay my bills.
It's like, who's going to want to log into my account? When we came up on Friday and me and my wife, between the two of us, had $20 to our name. It's like, go ahead, whatever. Have my identity. I don't care.
Yes. I love being in middle America. I love it. I love it. I am right about here. There's 50 feet of crap, and then there's me. I love it.
And of course, there's Tom Nutty. Shout out to Tom Nutty, who will be joining us on next week's episode. Tom Nutty, of course, has the Smoke Break podcast, and he's also a comedian himself. He's kind of making grounds a little bit as a local comedian. So he will be joining us next week for our episode with Ray, who is another adult film star. If I ever stop having a stroke while we're live on Facebook. And that will be our special New Year's 2022 episode. So, and Tom was like, they never take the bad credit. I've been trying.
But unlike me, Tom was able to buy a house. So go, Tom.
Yes. Well, me and my wife were able to buy a house, but the house was the contributor to the bad credit.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, we were planning our wedding, and then we were like, okay, so we bought our house in 2015, September 2015. We got married in September 2016. So buy house 1 year, following year, have the wedding. So all the boom, just matches in there. And we moved, we went from an apartment to a 3-floor house. So we moved out of our apartment. We didn't take any of the old furniture. So we walk into like, just this empty house with echoes because there's nothing in there. Now we're just kind of like, okay, well, now we need to buy furniture. We need to buy this. That, and the next thing we're about $42,000 in debt, and we're just kind of and it's funny. My wife doesn't like it. We did a chapter 7. We wiped all that shit out. I'm like, we have to, and she just now got a card to start kind of building her credit back up a little bit. But it was refreshing to not have to deal with that because we both make decent money, but it's the kind of thing that our debt was here, so we couldn't break that wall of have money to use for groceries, and now it's the inflation. I mean, we went to the store. I went to Target. Of course, my wife always likes to do the whole, I'm gonna make something for Christmas, but what I'm gonna do is we're gonna go out and get the stuff at 7:00 on Christmas Eve. So we went to Target, and we went to Food Lion, and Food Lion literally closed the glass door and locked it. And we're like, Merry Christmas, and we're just kind of like, okay. So we go to Target, and Target's lines all the way across.
Oh God.
A couple of other things, and it was like $55 or $60 in total for this. And I got like maybe 10 things. Granted, the dog food was $22, but aside from that, like $60, I'm just kind of like, what how did all this happen? Like, why are you doing this to me?
Well, actually, I would love to turn you on to this, and anybody that's listening, if you have a Giant or a Martin's in your area, there is an app called Flash Food. It is a free app. It tells me when a grocery store, and it's usually these are the brands that are currently on the app, which again is Giant or Martin's, and it tells me when they have good fresh meat and produce that are about to expire in the next week or two. And then I get it at a 50 to 60% discount because they want to sell it and not lose any money.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I save a ton the last month on fresh vegetables, fresh fruit, even milk that like in a week needs to be like Best Buy. So I can go get really fresh food still and save a ton that week on groceries.
Oh yeah, and also make sure anybody, if they have an Audi or Audi or however anybody wants to
Mhm.
pronounce that near them, make sure you go check that out. And a place that actually popped in my mind when you were saying Martin's, like it's another M name that I haven't been to since I was a kid. Murray's
Okay.
have a bunch of discount food. I haven't been in one, like most of them
Okay.
are down in like the bad parts of the city, but
Okay.
like there used to be one, I think in Glen Burnie when I was a kid, when my
Okay.
mom and dad used to go, and they had decent prices on food. I don't know if that
Yeah.
changed, but yeah, I still
Yeah.
see them around every so often. Make sure you hit up Audi and all that. So, and of course,
Mhm.
Tom Nutty, he said he bought his house with a stolen identity, and then he said he spent 330 recently on gas, and then he said thanks Obama. So because Obama, we always need to blame for all of life's difficulties. And actually, there's a gas station up near my work. It's right
Mhm.
there in White Marsh. You get on the White Marsh Boulevard. It's right there before you get on 95. It's an Exxon. They have
Okay.
gas for fucking $3.99. It has not left $3.99 in like 3 months. And I'm like, I think they just capped it off there and they just left it, and they're
Yeah.
just kind of like, screw everybody. This is what it
Yeah.
is. So,
Well, I unfortunately take premium gas in my smart car.
yeah.
So I'm usually over $4 pretty quickly. So if there are any pay pigs watching, just know you're a piece of shit and I want your money. So DM me. So.
And then Tom Nutty was $22 for dog food. That lasts about 3 days for mine. So
Yeah, he's got a growing puppy, I think. Tom, I forget how big your
yeah.
dog is, but they've gotten a puppy. He's like in the teenage years, and I think they're the same breed, right, Tom? I think they're like labs. So he
Yeah, I
has
think
two
they're
of
both
those.
yeah.
Yeah, so they
Yeah.
eat a lot, and so do your kids. So you have 4 pets essentially that eat a lot. Good luck, Tom.
And that's the thing, it's like Tom Nutty, he's trying to break ground doing local comedy, and it's like right there, just with the kids and the dogs, that's enough content right there that take you over the hump of just children and dogs
Exactly.
alone.
See, exactly. He's got his thing. I've got the fact that I keep getting rid of mine. And then I make money by watching other people's pets. So look, it's right down the middle.
So he said he has 2 cats as well, and both
Oh
dogs
yeah.
are over 80 pounds. So,
Mhm.
but what I'm hoping is that the dogs, that's a pretty good weight for 2 labs.
Yeah.
I have a lab pit mix. She's medium sized. She's not like the full lab size.
Mhm.
But both of ours are medium sized. But I'm hoping that the cats are also 80 pounds. Like he sits there and just feeds those cats nonstop. That you're talking about, like the cat doesn't even walk. It's just on its stomach.
Wait, are you telling me you hope that like Tom has a feeder kink, but only for his pets?
Yeah, he just keeps on feeding his pets over. And that's the thing. I think they might have been talking about it a little bit. Maybe shout out to 98 Rock. They might have been talking about, one of the shows was talking about it, is that if you had a pet and you left a pet in a room, would it just eat itself to death? And I'm pretty sure it would. Like,
Yeah, it depends almost on the temperament, because like I've had pets that are very like self-contained, like they'll eat until their body, like they listen to it, I guess, and they're like, hey, I'm done, I'm good. And then I've had other pets that will keep eating until they throw up, so I have to like give them tiny amounts. I'm like, you fat fucking piece of shit. Like even when I pet sit, I have people that'll tell me, oh, hey, by the way, keep all the food away from him because he'll just keep eating and eating until he shits everywhere. And I'm like, that's wild. That's weird, right? And they're like, same with water. He'll drink until he drowns. So you'll have to remove the water at night. I'm like, why do you keep these as pets? You have a wild animal.
Well, it's funny because my dogs, like I'm convinced that they cannot die from anything they've eaten. Because my one lab, we had, it was Halloween last year. Yeah, it was 2020 Halloween, because that was the end of our Halloween parties, and we had like a much smaller group. But what I did is I went out and I bought full-size candy bars. I was like, if any kids come to the house, they're getting full-size candy bars. Of course, no kids came to the house. So what we did is I think there was like 20 of them in there, and it was one of those big boxes from BJ's, and they were full size, and we got rid of about 5 of them. So there were about 15 left. So we come home from work the next day, and the box is on the floor and it's empty. Like there's nothing left. The dogs had gotten the chocolate bars. So we're like losing our minds. We're like, oh no, they're going to die. So we call the vet. Like, well, you can bring them in, or you can see how they do, see if it passes. So my dogs, when they get into stuff, they panic eat. So they don't
Oh.
do anything. They just swallow it whole, and that's it. Just okay, swallow it whole.
Yep.
So I guess they probably had a sense that we were coming home and probably just started swallowing whole wrapper candy bars, just swallowing them down. Because my one dog, she was throwing up, and she would throw up like a Snickers or a Three Musketeers, but she would throw it up in the wrapper with the candy bar still in the wrapper. So it was like a melted, flat, mushy candy
So
bar
gross.
inside the wrapper, and just kept on throwing that up. And I'm sitting there blown away. And I was like, this is what saved their lives. That the fact that they're stupid is what saved their lives.
Yes. Oh my God. That's so foul. But you are not wrong, because we had 2 Christmases in a row when we had a lab growing up. We had normally crated him because he had issues, and 2 Christmases in a row. Don't know how it happened. We had gotten my mom those chocolate Buckeyes from like a specialty store that she loved. And we wrapped them up, put them under the tree. We go away Christmas Eve to go do like church stuff, I'm sure. And we come back, and the only thing open is the Buckeyes, completely gone, completely eaten. And I'm like, oh my God, he's going to have to go take care of them. Again, 2 years in a row, go upstairs, found he took a giant runny shit in front of my bedroom door. That was it. Totally fine. But 2 years in a row in front of my door, I was like, is this a hate crime? I don't know.
My dog, one time when she was younger, we used to keep them crated because she wasn't fixed. So every so often we didn't want them to get stuck. Eventually we got her fixed. But when she was in the crate, I guess she got sick, and she did one of those asshole explodes diarrhea onto the wall type things. And like we came in, and she was just sitting in her cage, sad, terrified. And I just looked at the wall, and I'm just kind of like, what happened here? Like I don't understand, what's going on. And it's Tom Nutty. He said he's starting an OnlyFans called Fat Pussy, but spoiler alert, it's just going to be pictures of his fat cat.
Oh my God, that's hilarious, because I was just waiting for him to be like, it's just pictures of Ashley's poon. And I was gonna be like, oh, that's you got me.
What a good joke. It's a good joke, but I'm gonna need you to stop.
Well, then when you were talking about your dogs, I love that you were like, yeah, my dogs have Alabama type tendencies and we had to keep them apart. I was like, oh, they're not actually siblings. Got it.
Yeah. They're a year apart from each other. It's one of those things. I'm kind of blown away now that like one's 10 and one's 9, and you can't tell at all that one's 10, one's 9. Like they're still as energetic now. I mean, they've chilled out a little bit more, but they're still as energetic now as they were when they were younger. So,
well, I was gonna say, Ray, when I was 16 and the 40-year-old men hit on me, they told me the exact same thing. You don't notice an age difference. You can't even tell.
And of course, we're live right here on Facebook Live. This is our pre-show. I'm being joined by comedian Ashley Pontius, and shortly Nova Sky will be coming into the room, and we will be recording our regular weekly audio version of the show that will air on all major podcast platforms. So make sure, if you're watching us right here on Facebook Live, make sure you shoot us a friend request, or you follow us on Facebook, or if you're seeing this on YouTube, make sure you click the subscribe button, and you'll get all of our extended episodes and at really the video format of all of our episodes right here on Facebook Live or on YouTube. But yeah, I mean, it's insane the way pets are. Like pets are very, very unique. And we were talking a little bit about some of my pets, with my mom, like some of the pets. Like we had this dog when I was growing up. She was a shepherd and Irish setter mix.
Oh.
And she was huge. My mom and dad trained her so well that you could sit there and put a coat over her with sunglasses and a beanie, and she would walk around all day like that. And she used to lay under my crib when I was a baby. I don't really remember much of her, but when I was super little, I used to ride on her back like a horse. She was, but my mom had to put her down. I think she was like 13 years old, and she had like 2 tumors the size of like baseballs, and she was a female dog, but it looked like she had testicles because of how big tumors were and where they were, that everybody thought it was a male dog. And we're just like, no, she unfortunately, she has tumors. So,
well,
just,
I mean, I like to keep men as pets, and anytime their balls get too big, I like to put them out to pasture as well. I'm like, no, you're too needy. I'm gonna go get a new one. I'm like, good luck out there.
And yeah, I mean, it's been a hell of a ride with, all the
Yeah.
pets and all that I've had. And, that's the thing. I always fear when something happens to our dogs, because my wife is going to be devastated, like just
Yeah.
absolutely devastated when
Yeah.
they go. And yeah, I mean, they become like a member of the family. And Tom Nutty said,
Yeah.
this has been the best pet / budget grocery podcast I have heard of. You're welcome, Tom. I
He's
appreciate
not
it.
he's not wrong. We should
Yeah,
rename it from happy hour to like painful reality hour,
yeah,
where
yeah,
we just talk.
yeah. This is the painful reality. This is the pain that we're going through right now. I mean, that's the thing. It makes sense. We're coming off of Christmas. So we're
Yeah.
coming off of Christmas, which is one of the most painful holidays of the year. And then it's just
Yeah.
kind of like, okay, let's just have a reality check. Let's, talk about painful realities before we talk to an adult film star. That's
Yeah.
just the
She's
way.
gonna make us feel so much happier. I'm gonna be like, I feel like my soul's been ripped out. And she's gonna come on and be like, man, if you think your soul's been ripped out, let me tell you about this scene that I shot last week. And I'll be like, okay.
It's like if you feel like your soul's been ripped out, you should look at this cookbook about alien cooking.
Well, that's so funny because whenever you showed me your beer glass and I thought about my cookbook, I was like, wow, I should call him.
Yeah, and actually, like, have you actually been thoroughly through that cookbook?
So I took like a quick look because I took everything back to my apartment before I drove back to DC. So I looked through it and I won't lie, some of them look really hard. Like I don't know if I'll be able to pull it off. But they were very cool designs. But again, a lot of them are like, shaft shaped foods. So like hot dogs and asparagus and leeks and all kinds of things that you're gonna cut and make it look like a mouth. I'm like, why does this look like a brisk gone bad? I I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I'm excited to at least try it. I love that I have it. It's a very cool like conversation piece. And my mom, she also got me like a horror apron to wear in the kitchen, which is very cool. And I got a bunch of like horror based t-shirts and some movies. So like I got all kinds of great stuff. And I got an ice chest that I can keep the dead bodies in. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, well, there you go. Speaking of which, my freezer just like unfortunately passed away. So we had to get rid of our freezer, which I only had for 2 goddamn years, and then it stopped working. So I looked at my neighbor who does like scrap, and I'm like, you want this freezer? Like, I mean, I'm not gonna do anything with this, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and roll right into our regular weekly episode because it is 4:00. And once Nova Sky comes in, we'll admit her into the room and chat a little bit with her. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Happy Hour podcast. Of course, we are right here 100% live on Facebook Live. And of course, if you're not joining us live, we're also here on YouTube. And if you're listening to us, we're on every major podcast platform. And I'm being joined by Ashley Pontius. She is the host of the Quality Time podcast and one of our good friends from the Last Finder podcast. And we're coming off of Christmas. Of course, we're in our pregame episode, just concluding that, which is exclusive to Facebook and YouTube. And we were talking a little bit about your cookbook with, aliens. It's themed off of the movie Aliens.
Mhm.
And it was actually funny because Tom Nutty, our good friend Tom Nutty, who will be hosting with us next week, said this has been the best pet / budget grocery podcast I have heard in a while, which is hilarious because we were talking about budgeting and pets and high gas and all the other bullshit that we normally don't talk about on a normal everyday basis.
You know what? I'm all about being a spooky cheap bitch. You got to save money where you can. You got to be spooky on a budget. That's what I'm all about.
Yeah. And of course, we're waiting for our guest. Our guest is going to be Nova Sky. We're just waiting for her to pop into the room. So but no, I mean, Ashley, what's going on with you? I know you said some of your shows have been canceled recently. You're currently in DC doing some work, and how's all that going?
Yeah, it's been tough. I mean, I obviously support any of my venues and my bookers that have decided, especially this week, given the holidays, and we're seeing surges in Omicron cases. I fully support it. Is it disappointing? Absolutely. You just have to roll with the punches, but I'm really excited. I've got some shows, coming up already scheduled for January and February, and I'm finally starting to headline again, which is very cool. I've been doing a lot of feature work, so I'll be headlining in Harrisburg, I believe. I want to say January 12th. I think it's a Wednesday. I'll double check that. But I'll be at the Harrisburg Comedy Zone finally headlining for the first time. So that'll be very cool. But again, it's a weekday show, which is their way of saying we're taking a risk. You might be bad and nobody might show up, but we're going to give you a chance. And I'm like, that's all I want. Put me in, coach. I'm the Rudy of comedy.
And of course, our guest Nova Sky, she is coming through right now, and we're going to be talking with her momentarily. So, but no, I mean, that's the thing. Like, it's insane how, like, things were here and now things are back to here, with how everything's working and shows are being canceled again. And you're just kind of like, why are you doing this to me? And that's the magic. That's the best part, is that, you get stuff like this, you get stuff like, podcasts and, all that to kind of keep yourself intertwined and keep yourself active. And, we spoke a little bit before we were actually recording that, this is a good way for you to kind of get your shows out a little bit, the ones that are happening. And there's our guest, Nova Sky. Nova, how are you doing? Welcome to the Happy Hour podcast. Of course, I'm Ray. This is my co-host, comedian Ashley Pontius. How are you doing?
Hello, how are you?
Good. How was your Christmas?
It was good. I worked for most of it, but it was like very chill work.
Nice. What did you do for working during Christmas? Was it like any of the adult stuff, or was it something else?
Oh, well, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I probably should have double checked beforehand. I'm actually coming at you from Sherry's. I don't know if you're familiar. So okay. I'm here this week. We're actually in one of the bungalows on campus.
Oh,
so
nice.
Yeah.
I remember, because that's the same one that they did the HBO show on, or whatever.
No, it's not.
No, but it's similar.
We are far better.
Okay. How like with Christmas, how busy is something like that for Christmas?
It's all about quality, not quantity. It's busier than you'd expect, probably because there's more people than you really think about that don't celebrate Christmas. But yeah, no, it's not as quiet as you'd think out here on Christmas. Interesting folks that you see on Christmas Day.
And of course, Erica always sends us over a little, note of things to touch on. And she mentioned that you tried to join the circus. So what was it with joining? Like, was it like just a regular circus, like a circus of clowns, and all, or like one of those like crazy, like acrobatic, like Circus du Soleil type circuses?
It was something closer to the second one. I had a lot of friends who did things like acro yoga and stuff like that, which acro yoga is kind of what leads into all the weird Cirque du Soleil stuff. And I was actually dating a handstander, and he was trying to convince me. Yeah, and he was trying to convince me to run away and do the whole circus thing. I even learned how to. I tried to learn how to like I already knew how to pole dance. And pole dancing is actually a really big fundamental of like some of the circus tricks. Yeah. And I tried to learn how to hula hoop just so that I could go, but then I found out how big spiders are in Australia. And I nixed that plan.
No, yeah. It's funny. We just downloaded a bunch of games on Nintendo Switch that were discounted, and one of the games was called Kill It with Fire, and it's pretty much a game where you keep on killing spiders, and like you can use like weed whackers and blow torches and all that shit, and you're just kind of like, this fun. Like, I never knew I could have this much fun fucking killing spiders of multiple sizes in a game. And yeah,
that sounds really satisfying, honestly.
And now, was there ever a point where, like, let's say, the guy you were dating, he would handstand, like you ever see the one Friday the 13th movie where the guy handstand walks into the movie and then Jason just gloms him dead like that, where he will handstand in and he's like, all right, come on, get on your hands, we're gonna fuck on our hands tonight.
Oh, maybe if I wasn't so clumsy. Unfortunately, you need two graceful people in that partnership to work. So I got picked up a lot, which was nice. You know, I'm a dense creature, so it's nice when I can get picked up and like kind of tossed around like a rag doll.
See, I'm a BBW, so I have to do the opposite where I had to go to my partners and be like, you want me to pick you up? You want mommy to grab you? They're like, no. I'm like, no, let me do it. I can do it.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
And also you deal a lot with hula hoop type stuff. How long have you been doing like the hula hooping type stuff? You're quite the hula hoop right here.
Well, I'm actually I'm really good at tricks. I've got no flow. But that's what I picked up hula hooping because I was trying to run away and join the circus. That ties into the same thing. But yeah, I spend more of my time doing music and stuff like that.
Nice. Now with the hula hoops, what was like, did you ever sit there and like hurt yourself with a hula hoop? Like, because hula hoops, like they're that really thin plastic, but I would imagine that if you're trying to do something with a hula hoop and you hit yourself in the face with it hard enough, I would imagine that would probably cause some sort of damage.
So, okay, astute observation of my brain damage. But my hula hoops are actually like, I'm starting to feel like I should have brought it with me. Mine's like one of the really thick ones. Like it almost looks like one of the exercise hoops, and it's gigantic.
Kind of like Professor X's wheel on his chair for X-Men.
Exactly like Professor X's wheel on his chair. Because like the weightier it is, the easier it is to do tricks with it. And there is a trick, if you Google it, called like the scorpion kick.
Okay.
That like you throw it behind you, and if you're really good at it, you pick it up with your head. I have to grab it with my hand though, because I bonked myself in the head with the hula hoop so many times trying that I just gave up. I'm like, it's a half scorpion. It's fine. Nothing is worth CTE.
Yeah. Well, and see, I hear you with that because I did pro wrestling for 20 years and I've had 5 concussions. So I'm probably kind of borderline CTE with a lot of that.
Oh yeah, spicy.
I've hit my head. So, but yeah, I mean, and of course you're in the adult film industry. So how did you make the transition? Were you doing it when you were trying to do the carnival type stuff, or did you try to do that and then you kind of transitioned into that? How did that come to be?
No, it's really funny. I'm going to have to take the carnival stuff out of my bio, because that was like, it was literally, that was an answer to like a fun fact about you.
Yeah,
that was literally like 6 months of my early 20s. Like I spent most of my adult life as a musician and a bartender. Yeah. And I was doing all of that when I had been a bartender for like a decade at that point, when I read a Cracked article about the legal brothels. And I was like, wait, that's an option? Like that's a thing I could be doing right now.
Yeah.
I'm super slutty. I'm doing this shit for free. What am I doing? So sent in some pictures. They agreed that I'm hot, and the rest is history. At the brothels, there's just so many girls who work in adult film. I just always assumed that like porn actresses were like, you know, I make jokes all the time, like, you know, they're like raised somewhere and like, you know, they graze on pastures until they're ready to make smut, you know, like they're created somewhere.
They're growing in a crop. It's like cornfield.
Yeah, there's like a crop, and you know, that's that. But then the ladies here at the ranch were like, you just do it. You just decide that you're going to go do smut on camera, and then you do smut. Like that's what you do. I had no idea. So I've been doing that ever since.
Nice. And
it was just kind of like someone had to tell me that it's an option.
Yeah, it's there. You could be doing this, or you could be doing this and making money. And what's weird is now OnlyFans kind of like, when you said the crop stuff, like they're growing on crops, it's kind of like now you have people who you would never think would ever do anything like that. Now there's OnlyFans, which shout out to Tom Nutty, who's going to be hosting with me next week. He said on our pregame episode right here on Facebook Live, we were talking about his cat being fat. And he said, let me find the exact quote. He said that he wanted to start an OnlyFans called Fat Pussy, but spoiler alert, it's only going to be pictures of his fat cat. And that's the whole thing. Like OnlyFans has, opened up the woodwork of people coming in and, doing nudes and doing videos and all that, who normally probably want to do it because they see how much money there is in a lot of that now. And that's pretty pretty crazy. Like you look at any spectrum and you see OnlyFans, 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 OnlyFans. You're like, man, like I need to create an OnlyFans like for something weird, Jesus. So,
Well, Nova, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So my question, since Ray brought up OnlyFans, is do you see, and I hope you don't mind if this is personal or not, but I have a question of, do you feel like OnlyFans is a great stepping stone for girls who are too afraid to take the next step, say into more legitimate types of work? Or do you see it as maybe not as healthy or helpful? A lot of people who maybe used to look down on different types of work and now can maybe consider themselves like, oh, I don't do this, but OnlyFans is like a middle ground where I can still kind of excuse shitting on women in different types of work. I mean, what do you guys feel about that?
Well, I mean, the hierarchy is going to exist regardless of whether OnlyFans is here or not. I mean, before it was OnlyFans, it was cam girls are the ones who are at the top of the hierarchy. And for some reason, sugar babies who make a tenth of what, a street-based prostitute makes.
Mm-hmm.
Sugar babies are somehow higher on the hierarchy than, sex workers. All of that is nonsense. I am a big fan of, pun not intended, but sure, let's go with it. I'm a huge fan of anything that allows women from the age of 18, when they're legally allowed to make these choices, to be able to make these choices safely. So like OnlyFans didn't exist when I was 18. That was not a thing. There were chat sites, there were cam sites, but those were a pain in the butt. OnlyFans is super user friendly. That would have been a great option for me when I was 18. Right. I was working in strip clubs, which was super high stress. I was working, if I wasn't lucky, I could have been working in very unsafe situations. I love that there's an option for these women to be like, okay, I want to show my boobs. I want to get paid for that. I don't like gatekeeping.
Agreed.
That's not real sex work. I mean, like, what I would love to see an end to people ranking different kinds of sex work.
Yeah.
but no, I'm all for it. I don't know if it's a stepping stone. I think it's silly that it is a little funny that it's like viewed as something other than, like, if you do a scene for, Team Skeet, it is seen as something wholly different than, doing that same scene with your boyfriend on your OnlyFans.
Right.
That doesn't make a ton of sense to me. That's a little weird, but that's a societal issue. That's not a point. That's not a me or OnlyFans issue. That's a Susie having Christmas dinner with her husband issue.
Yeah. I understand that clearly because, as I said, I come from pro wrestling. So, you have the tiers of, you have guys who are in the independents and you have guys who are in WWE, AEW, whatever. But at the end of the day, they're like, oh, well, you're an indie guy. It's like, well, here's the thing. I'm still walking out of that curtain. I'm still getting in the ring. I'm still taking the same bumps. I'm still putting the same abuse on my body, probably not as frequent because they do it 5 days a week, but I'm still going out there and still getting hit in the head, still, entertaining the fans the same exact way, so I never really, critique the guy as much for being an indie guy. I'm like, very critical of people's work. You want to go out there and make it believable, but it's also the kind of thing of, well, you're no different than this guy and this guy is no different than you. We're all out there doing the same thing where, some guys are just better. Some guys make it places and some guys don't. But at the end of the day, we still have the same goal, and it's to go out there and make money and go out there and entertain people. And that's, so I understand that 100% with that whole aspect.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think both Nova and you, Chase, you both have the same goal, which is to make men come.
That's the thing. It's actually funny because one of our funny comments, shout out to Socrates, he always says he doesn't know whether he wants to come or cry. And that's that's just the whole where I'm going right now. And Nova, of course, you've done some VR stuff, and VR is starting to blow up. Like, I want to get an Oculus myself, and my co-host,
I got one for my brother.
And he came over with his when we got done recording our episode. He had his Oculus, and he's like, "Bro, you have to put this thing on." So I put on the Oculus, and he had this whole bar fight game. So I'm sitting there and like, it sees what your hands are doing. And like, I gave someone the finger. I'm sitting there like going like that to like the guy in front of me, and like, and then you just start fighting people. Like I beat Santa halfway to death with the Salvation Army change jar, like in bar fight. And it's crazy the way it works. Like when you pick up weapons, or you have to actually reach and grab and pick up. And I'm kind of thinking, and with the MILF VR and the porn VR stuff, is it like the kind of thing where you think it gets to the point where if someone goes like that, it's kind of like, the hands move and grab, like, the boobs or whatever and all that. Like it's insane how the VR stuff's working out with games and just everything in general.
Yeah, no, my brother has an Oculus actually. So I've gotten to play around with that. I never played bar fight, but that sounds excellent.
Yes.
10 out of 10 going to ask my brother to try it next time I'm up north. But I adored making the VR porn.
Okay.
It was like having sex while the robot from Short Circuit watches. It's super duper fun. Like super fun. Like the camera looks like, do you remember that movie Short Circuit? Yeah.
Yes. Oh,
like,
yes, 100%.
The camera, if you want to know what a VR camera looks like, it looks like number 5's head.
Nice.
Is between, like, they have the camera between you and your partner, and number 5 is just like having a menage a trois in between you guys. It's like super duper fun.
It's pretty much kind of looks like a VCR, because I always saw Johnny Five kind of look like a VCR, but without the plastic cover over it. Like once you look inside the VCR and see what the VCR, that's what it kind of looks like. Is that right there?
With like the eyes, it has like it has multiple lenses, because
really does it. Like when it like goes to like a different view, like let's say if it makes multiple views, does it like flick its like little like Johnny Five like eyebrows or whatever, like it changes like scenes? It's like, okay, we want you to go this way, and it's like, and it's like it has like those weird like lizard alien eyes that like flash like when you need to change.
I wish. No, I don't remember any blinking or winking. I mean, it might have asked for my number after the scene. That was a little unprofessional, but no, it was honestly, I'm looking forward to like a world where we can like squeeze titties in VR. Like sign me up for that. Like I want that.
Well, I mean, go ahead, Ash.
Oh no, sorry. I was just gonna ask. So Nova, where do you think though, for your career, do you think this is something outside of just being fun? Do you see this though as a really good pathway in your career as far as a new ability and new income stream, as far as new ways to do this? Or you do just see it as just something, enjoyable, just a new type of experience?
In terms of the VR?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. The thing is I'm not a futurist, and I guess even futurists don't make predictions, but I am very curious to see where VR goes, because I think it is super fun. I think it is super novel. What I see happening is possibly a fine tuning of the technology, just because I know I get very, very VR sick. There's a lot of people who get super VR sick, and it's one of those things that you kind of have to build a tolerance to. And I don't know if VR is going to take off into the upper echelon of like preferred methods of entertainment until they kind of work out the VR sickness issue, because it affects a lot of people. Like I say that myself, very much so included. Did you know that there's a special room at Universal if you get sick on the rides?
Really?
I do. Oh yeah. There's a special room where they take you if you need to fall out.
They're like, all right, this is the death room. Take her to the death chamber.
Oh, it's all made entirely of cold white linoleum. It's like they know you need to collapse somewhere. Yeah, it's excellent. But no, it's a real thing. Like I found it because I get super duper VR sick.
You said that where was that at?
Universal.
So Universal, that's kind of like, that room's like the equivalent of where like Disneyland's storing like Walt Disney and his like frozen body underground. That room is the equivalent of what Disney's, this is where we're hiding out frozen Walt Disney room.
Yeah, you got to be really careful, because if you're like, if you happen to be Disney's type, it actually turns into a cryo chamber. They decide to keep you for when he wakes up. No. But yeah, no, I would probably say the issue with VR. I think that if we get to a point where VR doesn't require getting that over that VR sickness, I could see it really taking over because it is so immersive.
Yeah,
Like it's nothing. I've never done anything like it. It's super fun, but
it's crazy because you draw the circle on the floor. That's the circle that you leave out. You see everything like gray screen, so you don't end up falling down the fucking stairs or some shit like that while you're playing. But it's weird though, because it's like you'll walk. It's almost like Tony Stark technology at this point. Like you walk out of the circle and everything goes gray screen. Like if my wife's right in front of me, I walk out of the circle, boom, I see her, and then you take a step back and it's like shoom, like you're instantly back in that world. And yeah, so it's crazy how that. And when we were doing bar fight, like I would get close to stuff like the TV or whatever, I'd be like, oh shit, I'm gonna end up punching the TV. And there was a game, I forgot what it was called. For the life of me, I can't remember what it was. If Matt was here, he'd be able to tell you. But basically, you were like a Viking, and you had to go through it, and you had an axe, and you had to pull the axe out of your holster on your belt. And then you would also have a bow and arrow, but you had to reach back, grab the arrow. You had to reach back, grab the bow, and then you had to shoot the bow. So I'm sitting here, I have a guy running at me with an axe trying to kill me. So I'm trying to figure, I'm not Hawkeye. Like I'm just trying to figure out how to shoot this arrow, and I can't get it lined up right or pull it. Finally, I get it lined up and I shoot it into the ceiling. And then the guy just kills me with the axe. And I'm just kind of like, okay, like this is
realism.
But it's insane how all that works. And actually right here, of course, we're on Facebook Live. My good friend, Chris, he said he just got an Oculus, and he said that his wife is going to be away for 3 days and his forearms are going to get huge. So
I've heard this before. I have several male comedian friends who have told me that they got an Oculus for Christmas and they've been sneaking off to different parts of the house to enjoy some good VR foot porn.
Yeah,
so that
yeah, some of them like to hide in their closet and watch that.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Also, but I'm not going to name names on who does that. But what I'm going to do. What was that?
Oh, I was saying, and this is why we need to normalize sexual pleasure.
Yes,
exactly.
Okay? Don't hide in the closet with your VRs pulling the meat. Come on. Do it at the Christmas dinner table like a good American.
Well, look, it's not what he's looking at that I find funny. It's the fact that he is probably leaving evidence of it all over his brand new house. That's the part I find funny. It's just I'd love to take a black light and be like, this is Ghost Hunters, and then just see all the dead babies he's leaving all over the new house.
Well, Ashley, did you watch the one episode when he was on and he was telling me about they were having issues at their old apartment, and pretty much what he was doing is he was going in the closet and he was jerking off, and he was just using on the closet door, and it looked like a melting candle on the back of the door. And like, can you imagine that? Like they go to like, at that point, it's like, if you're not ripping the carpets up, you're ripping that door off and throwing it out back. Like imagine like a cat walks up and just starts licking that door or something like that.
I just hope, Nova, you feel deep pride knowing that you may be responsible for some of the leavings in that apartment.
Yes.
No, girl.
Oh, I hadn't even thought about that. But actually, the idea that I'm responsible for someone just like beating their meat in the dark, completely unaware of their surroundings, seems right. It just seems right, like it doesn't seem like a step forward for evolution, but it seems right.
Maybe it is though, maybe what's intended is that person should not reproduce. You're just helping move that storyline along, and that's what matters.
Yep. Put it on the closet door, not on a fertilized egg. We're good.
Exactly.
Better on the closet door.
I fully support this. And I myself, I have an older version. I have, I think, the Oculus Go. So it's like a much older version, one of the original
one you put your cell phone in or whatever.
Well, no, it's still like the traditional like VR setup and everything, but I guess just the older version. So unfortunately, it doesn't support some of the new software, so I'll need to upgrade at some point. But I've been playing a game called VR Boyfriend, where he actually is like emotionally supportive, but then when I take it off, he's gone. So.
So it goes from a pretend boyfriend to a real boyfriend.
It goes to no boyfriend.
My life.
Yay.
And what I'm going to do real quick is we're going to get into our new featured beer. Of course, I've been drinking this since the beginning right here in this gigantic glass. Of course, you can see how dark it is. And what it is pretty much, it is from Lancaster Brewing Company, and it is called Double Chocolate Milk Stout. So for everybody,
I know them.
yeah. So Lancaster Brewing Company, you can see the chocolate cows being led to slaughter on the front of the can. And it says, don't miss out on the intense roasted malt, silky smooth mouthfeel, subtle sweetness, and velvety chocolate goodness of our double chocolate milk stout. We've gone over the top with more malt, the infusion of cocoa nibs and pure chocolate for a truly mind-blowing experience in beer. So right now, my mind is blown with the beer while I'm drinking it out of this mind-blowingly big glass I'm drinking it out of. And of course, we can't do that segment without our featured shot for it currently right now, and it is Jack Daniel's Winter Jack Cider. So I'm going to go ahead and do some of this. Of course, Matt's not here this week, so I am drinking solo without Matt, and continue tradition of pouring the drinks over the laptop, because one day it's going to end in disaster and it's going to be awesome to see live. So cheers to everybody watching at home. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get into our game segment called Ode to Humanity.
I drank all the alcohol in this apartment, so I'm out till tomorrow.
And what we're going to do now is we're going to get into our new game segment called Ode to Humanity. And we're going to start it off with a game that we like to call it. It used to be 5-second rule, but 5-second rule got a little bit easy. So now I turned it into name 3. So Ashley is going to give you a category. And what you need to do is just name 3 things from whatever category she throws out to you.
Okay. Are you ready, Nova? Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of like just like it's kind of like Family Feud kind of a deal, right?
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Solid. Okay.
All right.
Got this.
So name 3 things you shouldn't give your mom for Christmas.
That's a hard one. Many things. Definitely like lingerie. Definitely not lingerie. Anything sexy. No, get your mom anything sexy.
Agreed.
3 things you should not get your mom. Membership to Tinder Plus.
Good one.
And let's see, anything else you shouldn't get your mom? I don't know. I'm a bad daughter. I don't get my mom nice gifts. So I'm trying to think of I don't get her nice stuff. I'm trying to think of the bad stuff. I don't know. Things you shouldn't get your mom. I don't know. Yeah, probably anything sexy, anything Tinder Plus. I'm drawing a blank. Too late for the abortion. So
I personally, at least for my mom, I immediately thought the most insulting thing I could give my mom would be like cooking classes for Christmas.
Oh yeah, that's a burn, sick burn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably also want to be wise to get confused and actually accidentally give her favorite DVD, but instead you've swapped it out with the video of you having sex with her husband. And then when she goes to put it into the DVD, she's like, "Oh, wait a minute!" And then it just kind of gets worse as time goes on.
Wait, Ray, do we mean real dad or stepdad? Because stepdad, I'm on. The other one,
well,
I mean, I don't know.
For compliance purposes, it needs to be stepdad.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, it's like, they're just sitting there watching, and it's like, it doesn't need to say either or. It's like, either way, it's bad.
yeah, but one doesn't get you arrested.
And what we're going to do is we're going to move on to a game that we play called Incoherent. So pretty much what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold up a series of cards, and they're going to be in drunken lingo. And Nova, all you need to do is just try to sound them out. And a lot of times when you sound them out, you'll kind of say them, and then you'll kind of hear it. And there's a couple of hints on the back. So I'm going to hold that up. Can you see that okay?
Yeah. Cape Command Carrion. Cape Command Carrion. Cape Call.
One of the hints is you can normally find it on a poster. Wise advice for literally any situation.
Wise advice for any situation.
Oh, I know what it is.
Go. Keep all man, carry on.
Oh,
I don't
you're
know.
close. You're close. You got some of the words right.
Oh.
You see it on a lot of shitty mugs at home goods stores.
Oh, there we go. Keep calm and carry on.
Yes, yes. Keep calm.
Sorry, I had to help because I was like, I hate
I
these.
appreciate.
Yeah, I got
that
you.
was hard. Yeah.
And then
Erica told me.
what do you think that one is?
Pina colada. Oh, pina colada.
Yes, yes. And the hints for that
Crushed
were
it.
pineapple punch or a dessert in the form of alcoholic beverage. And then we have one last one. And what do you think that is?
Then hinged dildo. Oh, 10-inch dildo.
Yes, yes. And the hints are lengthy load or not recommended for beginners. So that's
No.
Incoherent.
I love that you got that one the fastest.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of drunk people ask for a 10-inch dildo. What can I say? No. Safety first. Consent is important. No. But
And then what we're going to do is, have you ever played What Do You Meme?
no, I've never heard of this.
Okay, so pretty much you know what a meme is, correct?
Yes.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold up a photo that we randomly drew out of the pile, and you're going to meme that photo. And Ashley, you're going to do it as well. And I'll do one once we're done as well. So what do you think when you look at that? What meme would you create for that? And for everybody listening at home, it's the image of African-American fellow with a big grin on his face leaning against the siding of a house.
I'm not good at memes. I'm bad at the internet. I'm an old lady. They can't tell I'm not wearing any pants.
What about you, Ashley?
When Nova calls you and invites you and 9 of your friends over.
Mine is when Tommy Simbazo met his new bedroom closet door for the first time. Because he's going to be wearing VR and letting it rip. And then, of course, we can't do Ode to Humanity without Cards Against Humanity. Nova, have you played Cards Against Humanity?
Oh, yes. Yes, I have.
So,
That's how you find out which one of your friends is a racist.
we do it slightly different on the show. So pretty much what we do is it gets a little hard trying to remember what cards are what. So I'm going to read off a category. Basically, I'm going to read off one of the black cards, and then you're going to have a choice between 1 and 6 that you're going to randomly answer that card with. And if you don't like your answer, you can get a rebuttal. So this one actually has 2 answers. So you're going to pick 2 numbers. So actually what we should do is, Ashley, you should pick a number, and then Nova, you should pick another number. And if you guys are satisfied with that, then we'll roll with it. If not, one of you guys can change. So what is the next superhero / sidekick duo? 1 through 6.
I'll do 2.
2. All right. So 2. What about you?
And I'll do 6 because hail
6.
Satan.
All right. So the next superhero sidekick duo are AIDS Monkeys and Prince Ali Fabulous He Ali Awaba. Are you guys satisfied with that, or do one of you guys want to change your cards?
I want to change. If that's mine, I want to change it. That one sucks.
All right. So there's that. What about you, Nova?
Are any? I don't remember which one's mine, but AIDS Monkeys and Prince Ali. I mean, Aladdin and AIDS Monkeys. Neither of those are fun. Yeah. Can I? Yeah.
All right. So
I mean, don't get me wrong. AIDS
2 and
Monkeys have done some serious work.
2 and 6 are out. So what number would you like to choose now, Ashley?
Number 1.
1. All right. So 1. All right. Nova, what about you?
Number 3.
Number 3. All right. So here's 3. So the next superhero sidekick duo are African Children and Jeff Goldblum. And that is going to be because you guys had got to do the rebuttal. So, but Jeff, Jeff Goldblum and African children. Could you imagine that? Like they're superheroes, like together as one.
I mean, is it too soon to say maybe it would have come out during the Epstein trial? Too soon? Too soon.
Never too
I just
soon.
hope that when it came out, that he didn't look like the Fly when it all happened, because that would be even more of a traumatic experience if he looked like the Fly while.
Well, wait a minute. This one could be called the Mosquito, and he has to help all these children battle malaria.
Yes.
They're gonna put a giant mosquito net around the world, and that's how we'll save it.
And
It could work.
so here's what we're going to do. We're going to do another round, and both of you guys are going to choose cards again, but we're going to see who has the better cards. Each one of you gets a rebuttal in case you don't like your card. So the next one is, I drink to forget blank. 1 through 6. All right, Ashley, what do you want?
Let's do 6 this time.
6. All right, 6. Nova, what about you?
I'll go with 1.
1. All right. So Ashley, I drink to forget double penetration.
I'm keeping that one. That's accurate.
And then Nova, yours is, I drink to forget a cat video so cute that your eyes roll back and your spine slides out of your anus.
Oh, I'll take that. And I know that cat video.
And some of the other options that you guys could have had was the primal ball slapping sex your parents are having right now.
Ah, yes.
An elite squad known as the Special Victims Unit. And then the South rising again.
Ah.
Some of the other options.
And this is how you find out your friends are racist.
It's crazy that and of course, shout out to Cards Against Humanity. It's crazy that Cards Against Humanity, they don't give a fuck. They don't give a shit with their cards. They have cards that are against Trump. They have cards that are against Biden. They have cards that are against Jews, whoever, what they don't care. And that's the thing. And it's amazing how many people play that game together and just laugh. There was a card that we had where we were with some of our friends, and their 80-year-old grandmother played it. And we had a card, and she had to read off her card. She was reading the cards, and she got the, "You crack a ass motherfuckers." And just by the way she said it, we lost it. And it was almost like last night we were playing Wii and we downloaded Family Feud, and I forgot what the subject. It was like, name something that you do before you go to work. And me and my wife, there were 7 answers and we couldn't figure out the last one. It was something stupid. And I told my wife, I looked at my wife and I typed in, I was like, die. So the host of the thing was he just goes, it's like, die. And it's just bam. But just by the way he throws it up and goes, die. And it's 3:00 in the morning. We're just laughing with tears.
So wait, Ray, your family is so functional that you guys downloaded Family Feud. If you want to play that yesterday with my family, you just bring up the vaccine.
Well, see, I'm not that functional. It's funny because with that game, you play it, and me and my wife are playing it, and you have 5 people on the other side, and you have me and her. And I'm just kind of like, this doesn't at least give us some AI characters, 3 other AI characters, so it makes it look like we have a family, because it would just say the Chase family, and it'd be the 2 of us, and then it'd be this random other squad of just random people, one wearing this weird cat mask, and that's what it was. And we're just kind of like, oh, all right. And then every time they would answer, they would either pass or they would just say something really stupid. And I'm like, okay, the AI in this game's really dumb. And then we play online and people just completely mop the floor with us. And we're like, okay, now we're gonna. And Nova, of course, we're starting to run a little bit, towards time, probably about another 15-20 minutes or so left in the program. And of course, where can everybody find all of your work? Where can they find you online? And what all do you have coming up and all that good stuff?
So the easiest way to keep up with me, if you want to find out, my store, my socials, literally what I ate for breakfast, all that fun stuff, you can actually just go to allmylinks.com/novasky, all one word, because I have a roundup of everything that way. Because if you follow the news at all about the sexy workers, we get kicked off of social media left, right,
Yeah.
You know, it's like Eeyore. Every social media account is like Eeyore's hut. You know, a butterfly lands on it. You know, a nipple on the top of it just breaks the whole thing. It's gone. So all my links.com/Nova Sky. If you can follow me there, you can find where I'm at. But I am available on many vids, is where I put the majority of the stuff that I produce myself. I make a lot of my own scenes because sometimes, you know, you don't get to choose the scenes you shoot for studios. So if there's stuff that I really want to do, I make it myself and I put it out there, and it's available for sale on many vids. I have an OnlyFans that I remember exists every week or so, and I put things up there. I'm not even going to pretend that I'm one of those update every day because it's free. Be happy you get to see my tits. So I have it though. It exists. It is a thing. I will probably start using it more often. But yeah, all my links is the best way to find me. Also, if you're interested in finding the Sherry's Ranch website, that is sherrysranch.com. And that's, I'm sure they'd be happy for people to come check that out. Although I go by my last name here because there used to be another girl named Nova and it used to confuse people. So I'm just Sky here, but yeah, that's the best way to find me.
Awesome. And of course you talked about the VR stuff with Johnny Five just like staring you down as you're making those scenes. Is there any movie right off the top of your head? And of course, another thing that's really big in the porn industry are parodies, porn parodies. And if you could make one or two porn parodies right off the top of your head, which two would you do?
I love this question. I love this question. I don't know if you can tell, I already love this question because there is I'm almost afraid to say it on a publication because I've been trying to make this film happen since pre-pandemic. I got the idea for the film at the beginning of the pandemic, and then the pandemic hit and it was like, well, I'm not doing that, but it is in the works. I want to make, are you familiar with The Seventh Seal?
A little bit.
Horror movie?
No, kind of. The Seventh Seal is it's Ingmar Bergman. It's like the knight who like survives the Crusades, and then like death comes to collect him, and he's like, "Let me play chess with you, and as long as I'm winning in chess, I don't die."
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie. It's like a super old art house film. Okay. Yeah. And it like the opening scene is super famous. Night on the beach, you know, there's like a horse in the water and death, and that's how they have the proposition. I want to do that like shot for shot, like, you know, have me on the beach, have death come up and we start playing chess. And then I'm just like, you know what? Actually, I really suck at this. Can I suck your dick instead? And then I fuck death. And I'm going to call it the 6.9th seal.
Nice. So
that's my art. I would like to make a lot, or like, I kind of just want like a whole string of like art house porn parodies, like, you know, like Waiting for Good O's, you know, like just like, you know, Psychosis but naked. I love that. The Virgin Spring, that already sounds like a porno.
It does.
That's a good, like, and can either of you guys think right off the top of your heads? I can't. Are there any movies that you think of that you hear the title and you're like, that's a porn movie? Like what like
Waiting to Exhale?
Yes, that is good. I love it. She was like waiting to exhale, and then she was like,
yeah.
What about you, Ashley? Because you guys have a Quality Time podcast, so you guys do a lot of movies with that. What do you think?
Well, I mean, yeah, sometimes it comes up a lot. Like I always felt, and I'm pretty sure there's probably a million different parody versions, but Ghostbusters itself, just the title sounds like a nocturnal emission piece.
Ghostbusters 2, and I'll tell you why. Tell you why. Because Ghostbusters 2, they had the slime cannons.
Yes.
So you know where I'm going with this, because if they have the slime cannons, all someone has is standing there and they pull the thing and just slime everywhere. That could be a VR.
But still the first one, though, if you think about it, still the first one, because Ray gets sucked off by a ghost in Ghostbusters.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and Bill Murray
Yeah.
gets slimed, and
Yeah.
then you've got like the weird chemistry between Sigourney Weaver and Rick Moranis. Like they have to
Oh, they miss the dogs.
bring about
They miss, yes. Oh,
put a dog in there. No one having sex with the dog. I mean, dog having sex with another
no,
dog.
Yeah, we
But-
just had that controversy.
there's
Yeah,
weird dog like creatures that were in that. They should put someone in a costume like that, like, because you get a lot of that like weird stuff where like someone's in like a Bigfoot costume or something like that, and like they're hiking down the road, and it's like, oh, they discover Bigfoot and Bigfoot kidnaps them, and it's just kind of, you know what, I'm gonna fuck Bigfoot, I'm gonna get my way out of this. And like,
well,
honestly, it's weird because that just goes to show, and I've talked about this before with some of the other co-hosts, is that I have a very twisted like personality on stuff, and like a movie where it's just like Bigfoot fucks chicks, and I'm just kind of like, all right, I'm gonna click
well,
view
yeah.
on this.
I'm not turned off or like weirded out by it though, because I'm so hairy. A lot of guys think they're fucking a cryptid, so it doesn't change anything. They're like, oh my god, have you seen her puss? And they'll like show a picture, and they're like, look, I swear that's it right there. I swear it's real.
I'm jealous, dude. I swear. I can't get it. My agent, when I got signed, my agent asked me if I can grow a bush. And I'm just like, dude, it's like, oh my God. It's like it's like a dehydrated lawn. No,
Wait,
no.
Are you telling me our lady bushes are like when men have conversations about you got a nice beard, and then it's the guy
Yeah.
who can't grow one, and it's
That's a thing. I'm the guy. I'm Captain McNeckbeard over here. I can't grow a beard. Just like patchy. I have to maintain, because it's never glorious.
I'm
It just
so sorry.
looks like I missed a spot. It's okay.
Well,
Tasty
look,
problems.
Nova, you put the in incel, and I think it's hot, and I'm all about it, baby.
Thank you.
It's crazy because you got to sit there and wonder if there's any kind of fetish for someone, you know, that likes ZZ Top style pubes. Like, could you imagine? Like, ZZ Top beat, but as pubes, like they're just kind of like, okay, pants come down, and then like it's just like a rolling carpet of hair. It just kind of keeps on going, and it just rolls out, and you're just kind of like, all right, well.
Well, but I mean, Nova, I'm sure you've heard and seen it all, right? Like, I mean, there's not a lot that would shock you, I assume, whether it's fetish or style, anything. I mean, I'm sure, right? There's nothing that's
literally, yeah, no, it's at the point where like I was talking to a friend and I was like, you know, yeah, I'm pretty vanilla. And my friend's like, what are you talking about? You still have whip marks from last month. You literally like, she lists like 7 like really like outrageous things I've done in the last, like, you were literally just in a 5-guy gangbang. What are you talking about? You're vanilla. I'm like, what? Boring. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm a little mildly desensitized as to what is risque at this point.
Sure. But I get that.
I feel like you're, yeah. Nothing. I think that things aren't shocking though. The thing that's most shocking to me in my travels, you know, before, because I had a whole pretty actually vanilla life before I got into this industry. I didn't start in the true pirate's life until I was like 28. So I can say the most shocking thing is that all of the things that I always thought were like rare or like, you know, like kink and fetish and stuff like that, everybody has one. Yes. Everybody has a kink or a fetish. Everybody has something that, like, you know, maybe if they don't know somebody very well, they don't want to like admit it the first time that they have sex with them. Like, that's literally everyone. Like, I think that's been the biggest shocker for me, really, is just how normal being a complete and total weirdo is. Like, that's actually like the normal part. Like, if there's not something that like after you come doesn't make you go, ugh, like, you're probably the weirdo. You know,
well,
like,
I mean, that's the fun part, and that's honestly, that's how this podcast got started, is that just me and my buddies are just weirdos. And you know, and I've said it countless times, we're the type of guys that will be at like a bachelor, or we'll be at like a baby shower or a wedding or whatever, something serious, and we'll be just sitting there just crying, laughing in the background, and our wives are just kind of like, what the fuck are you guys talking? And it's like, we're like, hey, the shit that we talk about, let's just fucking sit there grab a microphone, talk to some interesting people, and talk about just horrible shit, and that's just, the way it works. And, it's worked. And, here we are. And then, we get hooked up with Ashley and Tommy Sambazo and Eric Woodworth, who are equally just as much of weirdos as we are. And, so it's fun. And, it's good to be weird. Like, I feel like that if someone's normal, there's something wrong if you're too normal. Like, you meet someone who's too normal, like everything's perfect, and you're just kind of like, that dude's killing somebody. There's somebody
yeah.
freezer. So, but what we're gonna do is, Nova, we're gonna go ahead and let you get out of here. We appreciate you being on the Happy Hour podcast. Anytime you want to stop on, say hello, or even if you have anything that you want to promote, send it our way. We'll promote it for you. And also let us know. We always like to try to send out a t-shirt to people as a thank you. We're super that with our shirts. So we'll try to get one out as soon as possible. We're just so overloaded from all the guests we have weekly of trying to get them out to people.
It's a panorama out there, man. It's fine.
It's and of
we're
course,
selling a panini.
And of course, for everybody listening at home or watching at home, we will be back here right here on Facebook Live next week. Our special guest co-host will be our good friend Tom Nutty. Good fuck Tom Nutty, because Tom, that's what we like to say to Tom Nutty. Of course, Tom is from the Smoke Break podcast, and he's also trying to break ground as a local comedian. So he will be joining us next week as a special guest co-host. And our featured guest will be another adult film star, Ray Ray. So she will be coming in, and that's going to be a little hard to distinguish, saying Ray and Ray the entire time. So it's going to be a trifecta of Ray going on within that episode. So, but yeah, we'll be back next week with that. And then, of course, we will be back here also on January 8th. It was just announced today. We will have Scott Page, who is the saxophonist from Toto, Supertramp, and Pink Floyd, right here on the Happy Hour podcast. So make sure you go over to www.thehhpod.com for more information on that. And what we're going to do, Nova, real quick before we go, for everybody watching at home, and also we insert these into all of our episodes. Would you just be able to do a plug for us and say this is Nova Sky and you're listening to Happy Hour podcast?
Absolutely. This is Nova Sky, and you're listening to the Happy Hour podcast.
Awesome. Thank you. We appreciate it. And this is going to conclude our Facebook Live episode. And we will see you guys next week.